everyone, and welcome to this edition of Cyber Knowledge Partners podcast. I'm Linda Zecker, and with me today is my co-host, Catherine Mahalik. And today we have something pretty exciting we want to talk about. So, Catherine, I'll turn it over to you. Anything you want to bring up right away?
I do. And here it is. It's our very, very first book called Stolen Trust. There it is. There's the cover, everybody. Notice the fingerprints. That'll be very easy for you to find it when you're looking for it on Amazon, and we'll have links and everything in our podcast. But it rolled out soft release, I should say, January 1st with the Kindle version, and now it's available in paperback for those of us who still like to hold a book and read.
Yeah.
So, very exciting news today. Big day. It almost feels surreal, I would say.
It does feel surreal, and we've been talking about this for a long time. We've been thinking about how we were going to convey some of the things that are happening in cybersecurity in a way that people could really understand them. And it's been kind of a labor of love. It's been a lot of labor, I'll say that, a
A lot
lot
of
of labor.
labor.
And I was in the publishing industry, and you worked there with me at Hope Mifflin Harcourt, and I loved the trade business or the publishing side of the business. I just thought it was fantastic. It was great people, a lot of fun. It was so much fun with all the new books that came through and the things I was exposed to. And so this has been something that we've been thinking about for a while.
For a
And we
while.
decided to do it on Amazon for the simple reason that Amazon is kind of on the leading edge of a lot of technology and things that they are doing. And this is a book about cybersecurity. It's a fictional account of two women that are journalists. And so, in fact, we published it under their names because they are journalists. And we thought, you know what? Since we're writing about these two women, let's give them the credit for their work. And
For
so
their work.
we did this under pen names, although our names are in the book.
I like to say nom de
Yeah,
plume.
nom de plume. It sounds so good, doesn't it?
Sounds
But
very
it was
nice.
just it made sense to do it this way, and
Mhm.
so it's been really a lot of fun. It's been a great learning experience, and so now last night we toasted a little glass of champagne, and
Yep.
today now we are really talking about the book, and we're very excited to be able to share that with you guys today.
Yeah, and we wrestle back and forth. What type of um, book are we going to write? What's going to be in the um, how are we going to do this with cybersecurity? And we both have read a lot of publications, a lot of articles, a lot of journals. And after a while, you get really focused in on these individual items. And for the person who doesn't live and breathe IT, cybersecurity, I mean, as we always say, you and I have been doing information technology for an extremely long time. And if you don't
Long.
swim, yeah, and if you don't swim in this pool, it can look very intimidating. So I think it was the right thing to do to go with fiction because it helps people step out of the everyday reality that's crashing upon us. Think about the articles. We talked this morning about the article that Axios wrote, and every day, and the Verizon yesterday, who knows why that happened? I haven't seen any updates yet, but every day we live in this very transactional cyber environment, cybersecurity, AI environment, and we thought that writing a book was the best way to bring people out so that they can see the big picture. Forest for the trees, right? Screen for pixel, pick your analogy, and to give people the way to step back and to remember how this ecosystem is impacting us positively and negatively, um, and how you can survive in it and to be cognizant of what's happening. So,
Yeah, and I think your comment about the pixels is so true too. I mean, this was a comment that someone made to us, and I think it makes a lot of sense that, as you said, every day you're being hit with some new cyber thing, and you really don't know what's right, what's wrong. I mean, just today I was reading about how Anthropic has come out with their new Claude Cowork, and Cowork it's essentially going to help organize AI. So it's AI organizing AI. And that's, some of this stuff is just mind-boggling. And you're sitting in your bed in the morning when you first get up and you're reading this, going, oh my God, what's happened today? But what I think our fictional account of this is really allowing us to do is give people a bigger picture so
Mhm.
they can kind of get this fictionalized view of what's really happening. So it's easier to digest and easier to
Right.
understand. And
Yeah.
it's moving so fast. And when some people that have read the book have said, wow, this is kind of some of it's happening today, right now in our politics and everything else. And some of it is kind of very futuristic. Well, I was thinking about, I was back in the 60s, and I shouldn't say how old I am, but back in the 60s, I loved Star Trek. I was a Trekkie. I mean, these are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. I used to say it every day when the show would come on. And there was an episode a long, long time ago, and it was Harcourt Fenton Mudd. Now, he was in a couple of different episodes, but in
Right.
this particular episode of Star Trek, it was about these synthetic people, and these they were fake. It was fake news. These were fake people, and they were kind of infiltrating all of the people within the starship. And one of the interesting things is Spock was trying to figure out, and he was always kind of the voice of reason. Spock was trying to figure out how to stop this. And so he said to them, everything I'm going to tell you is going to be a lie. And when he said that to them, it kind of made them go, oh, and blew their minds, and they sort of spun out of control. Well, look at today versus look back there at 1967. We all thought some of this stuff was crazy. It's not crazy anymore. This stuff has been happening, it's happening now. And what we're writing about is really where it's going. So, this is the beginning of a series. And this is the first in the series, but I think it's a great way to think about what's happening in the world of cybersecurity.
And the one thing I think it's important to think about in stolen trust, we talk about it in there, and I think about it every day is, and I think the one thing that our core Flint and Mud episode showed us was that we still can choose. We still have the ability to refuse or to manage or to choose. And those aren't negative things. They are ways to take the new tool and utilize it in a way that makes sense and is workable. And I know that sometimes I feel like they say there are sometimes we had the river that I grew up next to, the Monongahela River, always looks very calm. But the currents underneath will
Right.
take you, and that river flows north. It'll take you north in a minute, and the next thing you know, you're in big trouble. And sometimes I feel like there's such a lack of friction in the way that we use this and how easy it's become for us to have an app and do with this and do with that and click on this button and go here and go there. But we have to be mindful as humans to make sure that we don't get stuck in the Monongahela currents and end up at the point in Pittsburgh before you know it. Um, and, there are still camps and thinking that Sir Roger Penrose, brilliant, brilliant physicist, mathematician, and he and Stuart, I have to look at the name, Hammeroff, have their thinking of AI and a lot of this. I would say that a lot of the technology and all that that's being wrapped around is that there is still a human element that cannot be replaced. And that is it. They challenge the notion that consciousness is strictly physics and computation. So I invite people to read his, and it's very hard reading if you can just get through it. Um, but is to realize we still have some control and some power, and
Right.
we should make sure that we choose and we exercise that as appropriate. And I'm so excited. Can you tell I'm talking a mile an hour or 90 miles an hour? Um, that the book, I think, not only explains the ecosystem a little bit in a very non-technical way,
Right.
but it also reminds us to pick and choose and what to do. So I don't want to give it away too much, but very excited about this book.
Yeah, it's something, I mean, again, it's been a labor of love and something we've really worked on. And I was just reading this morning a whole thing about Goldman Sachs came out and talked about the number of jobs that potentially AI is going to replace. I think it was Elon Musk came out and said, don't go to medical school. We're going to replace all of it with robots and everything else. Well, that's concerning people and that scares people and they don't know, okay, what's that really going to mean? Is that really going to happen? That kind of thing is not going to happen overnight, but we are changing and
Absolutely.
technology is forcing us to adapt and cyber is forcing us to think differently about our data and what we do and how we create things and nothing is really for sure anymore. I mean, how many times do you go on Instagram or something else and you're looking at a video and you're thinking, is that real? Did that really
Oh,
happen? And just you read so much and you hear so much about what's going on around AI and jobs and things like that. And people are concerned. They don't know if this is something that's going to happen overnight. Should they be worried about these things? I mean, Elon Musk just came out, I think today or yesterday, and said, "Oh, don't go to medical school. We're now going to have robots in 3 years that are going to replace all these people." Well, could that happen down the road? Potentially. There's a company that's out in California that just is now creating AI information about potential jobs. They've hired 30,000 contractors, some crazy thing like that. And they're hiring dermatologists, they're hiring psychologists, all kinds of different roles to help them get smarter about that. And so that their AI technology can then help replace those roles. They're getting great valuations and all the VCs love them, but that's a long way off. And I think the important thing that I read this morning, which I thought was really great, is that the real value that humans provide, and what our value really is, it hinges on our expertise in evaluating the work. And
hmm
so that's an important component of us being able to demonstrate the difference between what's fake and what's real. And that's why when you talk about being able to choose, our ability to have reason and to evaluate what we are seeing or what's going on around us, that's really what makes us above AI. I mean, AI can synthesize data far faster than we can. And we talk about that in the book
hmm
about what's happening. But we have the ability to really down the road think in terms of is that real or is that fake or what's the ramifications of that? And then we get to choose what direction we want to go. And
Right.
so I am so excited about the book. It was, again, a labor of love and something that we really put a lot of effort into. But more importantly, I think it helps people understand what could be and where we could go and what some of this could mean and what are some of the ramifications. I mean, don't want to give away too much, but how many people have been duped on dating apps? How many people have had money taken from them because they were faked out of money? How many people have had emails that we've talked about ad nauseum about phishing that they've acted on and the impact of that? And those are all the kinds of things that we have weaved into a story that I think make it really a compelling read.
Right. And again, having that fictionalization really helps you step back out of the everyday, almost sometimes panic or worry or excitement about participation. And it gives you the picture so that you can look at the whole picture and to start thinking about things
Right.
and looking at and being discerning and having a sense so that you don't feel like you're stepping into a river that's going to take you somewhere that you never intended.
Right. So, just for those of you out there that are going to read the book, when you're done with the book and you're thinking, you look like Vanna White up there with your. But Want to turn the page?
Bob Barker girls, or
Yeah, yeah.
didn't they have a name for the
Yeah, I
group?
forget what they were. But when people are out there reading the book, think in terms, if you like the book and you like the characters, there's a sequel. This is going to be a series, and we think there's just a lot of things that people will enjoy about it. So hopefully you'll agree with us. Hopefully you'll purchase the book. And thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate having you.